Exterior, day, parkway from afar. We are football fields away from a long line of suburban traffic, careening towards a speeding car. We settle in on one car in particular, a nondescript sedan with a man and a woman inside. Even without sound, the fight they are in the middle of is apparent. She talks at him and he stares straight ahead. She is striking, angular and fierce. He is not.
He sulks.
There is no sound as they keep hurtling through space. We get closer to the car as the fight continues. It gets more heated. He punches the steering wheel harder than an adult should and mutters something. The talk stops. She starts to laugh.
It's not a funny laugh.
Then they're back at it. Both of them this time. It gets bigger and bigger until the car peels off ahead of us as we pull back and watch it drive away. A title. Garish in font. A vacation. As the car peels off, smash cut to exterior, day, lake house. A house on the lake.
A house on a lake.
Everything is still, except for the wind and what it kicks up. There's nothing new about the home, nothing retrofitted or rejiggered for the style of the next decade. It is as it was originally built. There is a door at the front of the house and a small brick walkway. It is lakefront property. The driveway precedes the brick path, and we watch from the end. The lake is to our right, and there appears to be a large room with big windows looking out over the lake. A low hum begins on the soundtrack, industrial, low, keening, but with more musicality. The car pulls up and into the driveway. With the rear of the car facing us, she is still gesticulating in the passenger seat. They keep up their silent argument.
She has nice hands.
He gets out, slams the door, then she does a few moments after. She is still clenched and angry, but as he heads to the rear of the car, he turns and says something short and hot in her direction. He bangs open the trunk and does a sottovoce something as response.
Just quit it, okay? Just fucking quit it. Enough already. Give us all a friggin' break.
But we don't actually hear anything because there's no sound. Only this slowly elevating hum/keen/violin. He grabs their bags. She motions to help and he shrugs it off, slams the trunk down with his elbow. They head towards the house and he staggers further left than the door, probably thinking the front door is opposite from the lake. She makes an exasperated over here gesture and he corrects himself back to her, but he definitely wasn't wrong.
He's wrong.
When they get to the front door, they do a who has the key/you do pantomime Lazzi, where he drops one bag and searches in his pockets until he has to drop the other one.
This goes on.
They continue the search. We slowly circle sideways over the lawn to the right of the house. Smash cut to interior house continuous. We are inside. Every room in the house, from above, kitchen, warm but cramped, library, dusty books, 2 bedrooms, spare, and the basement, stone and cement, no joy. The great room, fireplace, plenty of windows. It's an introduction, but the unkind music follows.
Empty.
Smash cut to exterior house, continuous. We continue our path, rounding the house as the two of them head inside. He leaves one bag by the door and has to come back, while we find ourselves over the water looking into the great room from the windows. The room is pitch, with only silhouettes of whatever is inside. An interior door opens and light streams in through the frame. The hum is getting stronger. Maybe there's a light drumbeat filtering in now. In the doorway, he sits in a chair, his head in his hands. After a beat, she enters and leans against the wall. She is speaking more calmly now, but still, clearly, at him. He gets up and exits our view towards the rear of the house. She stands for a beat, and then reaches out of view to grab a beer. She begins walking towards us and the darkened great room, until she is looking out at the lake. She drinks her beer in the dark. We stay on her face as she thinks.
She is probably thinking not so happy things.
Music gets louder to a slight crescendo.
I like her.
Smash cut. Interior great room, afternoon, continuous. Our soundscape is completely gone now. We only hear conventional house noise. We're now staring at her back, looking into the darkening lake, but we are framed from the top corner of the room. After a pause so she can look out into the water, she makes a snort of some sort and heads back into the house. As she pauses, we list slightly with her, as if wanting to follow, but she is through the doorway and gone. The lake ripples soundlessly as the daylight begins to fade. Smash cut to interior, kitchen, later. It's the middle of dinner. Both are sitting at that simple kitchen table across from one another. The kitchen is small, the table too big for more than 4. We are down near their feet by the corner of the room, so she is obscured by the wooden table. They are both tense and trying to hold their voices to a level volume.
Because it's my work, okay? I mean, why? Because it's what matters to me. It's crazy to me you don't get that.
He gets up and heads behind her as she interrupts.
Of course, I get it. I know what you love, but 2 things can... Why does everything have to be this or that with you? I'm not trying to take something away.
He is opening drawers behind her.
Why wouldn't knives be with fucking spoons? This is Dewey Decimal or some Dark Age storage bullshit. Wait for it. The rice is in the linen closet and the booze is in the bathroom.
He keeps looking.
She has stopped talking.
I'll wait till you're done.
When I have a country house, I'm putting fucking labels everywhere. Clean fucking labels.
He finds a knife.
It pisses him off.
He looks at it with accusation.
Of course. Steak knives are with the takeout menus. Man, I used to really like these guys. This house was arranged by a sociopath.
She is still, waiting to return to their conversation. He sits down, noisily.
Maybe he's a little drunk. Or maybe he just doesn't give a shit about the furniture.
The argument continues over the table.
One thing doesn't take the other thing away. It's not a zero-sum game.
She's calmed down. She sounds a little like she is trying to control herself.
Tell that to Becky and Tom. Aren't they in their mom's house in Long Island at this point?
Jesus, come on.
There is a small sound from deeper in the house. Maybe shuffling? They both hear it. A very slight pause.
You heard that, yeah?
Yeah.
He gets up. Her frustration is winning.
Baby, if you can't...
He already moving.
1 sec.
He clears out a frame and ventures into the house. We hear him banging around. He's gone for a long time. All we hear are banging sounds of footsteps and doors being closed or opened. Her eyes stay on empty doorway.
She's actually kind of beautiful.
She types something on her phone. She looks up. She thinks. It's been longer than it should be. She's about to say something. Call out to him. Then goes back to her phone.
She thinks better of it.
Her eyes come up again. She definitely can't hear him anymore. Her mouth opens to call out. He bangs back in.
He's either had a bit, or he's really not light on his feet. Or both.
He crashes into the chair and digs back into his food. She looks at him, waiting. He eats. He seems to realize he should say something.
Oh, who the fuck knows? This house must be like 200 years old, no?
She watches him. We're settled right behind his head, looking at her. She's frustrated, then a little mad, and then maybe sad. She puts down her fork and has a sip of her wine. She starts to say something, but nothing comes out. He keeps eating. His eating is the only sound we hear. Smash cut to interior, bathroom, later. She is in the tub. We stare into the bathroom, but perched quite high now, almost looking down from the ceiling. She is in a bathtub, soaking. The door is slightly ajar. Maybe there is tinny music playing from a small old radio by the sink. She ducks under the water. The door begins to swing open, seemingly untouched by human hands. She doesn't notice.
Baby, are you coming to bed?
He walks into the room, but just slightly. The door keeps her out of sight to him. She comes up again.
What?
She sighs.
Honestly, I just got in. Maybe a half hour?
She is staring straight ahead.
Sure, baby.
They both stay motionless. His face contorts. Is he crying? He puts his hands to his eyes and holds himself in. She turns to where he is still standing, unseen through the door. She puts her hand on his side of the tub, in something of a reach in his direction. He looks up to the ceiling. His expression becomes something we haven't seen yet.
It is very bad.
Smash cut to interior bedroom, evening. She's getting ready for bed. We are hunched below a doorway, with the door partly closed, watching a big bed. She's on the far side of it, with her back to us, fiddling with something. He walks into frame with his pants off and just a shirt on. He fiddles by the bedside table, the clock or his phone. He takes off his watch and puts it by the side of the bed. He looks at her. He wants to say something, but her back is still to him. He suddenly seems unbearably sad. He thinks about taking off his shirt, but doesn't. She doesn't turn around. He decides to close the door. As soon as he does, we sling upwards, much faster than before. We pull back and then further up, getting the door and surrounded walls in view. Light flickers under the door. There are muffled sounds of voices. The voices stop. The light goes off. Interior, bedroom, later. We watch them sleeping from across the room by a little side table and chair. We slip over towards them until we're at the edge of the bed. We focus on the man. His legs are peeking out of the sheets and we stay on them for a bit.
Ew.
We swing to the side of the bed and see his pants in a crumple. With his wallet peeking out of his back pocket and his eyes lying on top of his pants, there are two distinct sets of keys. Smash cut to interior, bedroom, morning. The bedroom door is open and we hear the sounds of morning bathroom noise. He's looking for something, checking his pockets, the sheets, peering under the bed. He's one step from really fucking pissed. He comes in, stiffly. She watches him look for it.
Tell me you lost them.
It was right fucking here when I went to bed. I clocked it on top of my pants.
Well, it's not here now.
It's gotta be here. I've never lost my keys in my life.
She is not pleased.
You've said.
She's not at all mad.
Her face is tight. She turns to go.
Please find it.
She walks out. He stands up, looks around. He stares at us, unseeing, chewing through his steps over the last day. He thinks. Smash cut to interior, kitchen, later. She's in the kitchen with a cup of coffee and the bags. We can see the car where they parked it yesterday. There are footsteps upstairs. She stares off unseeingly. She gets a text in her phone. She responds in a short burst, then waits for the response. Instead, the phone rings silently. She looks off camera to the rest of the house. Can he hear me? She picks up.
Hey, no, can I call you when we get back? Terrible. Just fucking terrible.
She frowns into the phone.
The person on the other end tells her something she doesn't want to hear.
She closes her eyes.
Yeah, I know. Bye.
She puts the phone back down and looks straight ahead. She keeps looking at nothing. We hear him say some expletive, fuck, off camera upstairs. She looks towards the sound.
She isn't impressed.
He bursts through the interior door at her left and heads out towards the car, which we still see through the window over her shoulder. He looks genuinely confused, now, and really flustered.
I have no fucking idea. This is actually crazy.
He stops at the door, turns to her. He hands her a pair of glasses.
Look what I did.
He looks for the right thing to say.
I found these upstairs, baby. I didn't want you to lose them.
Then he is out the front door fast with it banging open. It stays that way, so we now see him go down the walk, start opening all the car doors and ransacking the car. She turns her back to us, faces the window, and watches him flail. He's not finding what he wants. He begins to come up behind her. We settle there. Then, slowly, she turns.
She looks at me.
She backs up a little so more of her body is in frame. Her face is incredibly hard to read. Is that how she looks when she's afraid?
She's afraid.
We feel movement to her right and he blows by her. He doesn't notice that anything in the room has changed.
5 more minutes and we're good to go. It's got to be up there. I literally saw it last night when I put our bags down.
He keeps talking, but it gets muffled a bit as he heads deeper into the house, to her left. She has followed him with her gaze out the door, and she's staring that way now. Her eyes are blank with thought. She starts to cry a little. She jerks slightly, then straightens up. She turns to her right, not too slow, not too fast, and looks very distinctly off camera. Her eyes go wide. She screams. It's a loud scream.
It goes on for longer than it should.
Smash cut to exterior house, continuous. We stare at the house from the same vantage as when we first met it, behind the car, with the lake off to the right. One door to the car is still open. The front door hangs wide. It bangs slightly on its hinges as it clatters open and shut. Bang, bang, bang. Nobody comes out to close it. The keening soundtrack begins again. Cut to black.